right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know there may be still a few people who are joining us here virtually, but we are at 1:02, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and we're going to get started here. Well, once again, thanks so much for joining us for our Countdown to Kindergarten event for families. It's our informational session to welcome you to the district or to continue to welcome you as current families. I know some of you are here who have students already in our elementary school. My name is Melissa Barnett, and I'm the elementary principal here at Durham Elementary School. And we have a few other people who are hosting the event with me today. We have Miss Sarah Miller. She is our JES behavior specialist and our Jordan Public Schools culturally responsive teaching specialist. Kat Pass is our communications, marketing, and events director for the district, but she's also serving as our tech support today. She's going to be, crossing her fingers and making sure everything runs smoothly with our Zoom presentation today. This is our first time offering this event virtually. So we're going to just ask for your flexibility, your understanding and grace for this first Zoom presentation. Just so you all know, we are recording this session. That will allow anybody who is not able to participate in the event today live. They can refer to our Countdown to Kindergarten website page on the Jordan Elementary School website and can view it at a later time. We are also doing a live presentation tonight at 7 o'clock. We wanted to do a daytime as well as an evening presentation to accommodate all of our family schedules. Just a couple of other tidbits here. For those of you who want to be able to remember information and don't want to be jotting everything down, sometimes what's helpful is to, if you have some sort of mobile device, if you want to take some screenshots of important slides, that way you can refer to them later on or hold on to them beyond just having to go back to the website to view the presentation again. Sometimes that's helpful to take screenshots. And just know that if you have any other questions during this event, I'll talk a little bit about how to get your questions answered here in a little while. We had originally planned on having a live chat going as we were presenting. However, that feature is not working as we had hoped. So just know that there will be opportunities for me to get your questions at a later time. I'll share that more later on in the presentation on how to go about getting your questions answered. But we're going to get moving here with our presentation. So I'm going to have Kat kind of help me move through the slides. Miss Miller is also going to be sharing throughout the presentation too. So just a quick introduction of our district and school leaders. This is Miss Renee Case Evenson. She is our superintendent of Jordan Public Schools. She just started with us this past year. And of course, there's my picture there as the elementary principal. Just a little bit about Jordan Elementary School. We are a pre-K through grade 4 building. We house all of our preschool programming in our elementary school, which is great for our incoming kindergarten families who have children who attend our preschool. That way they already are familiar with our building. And it's always nice to see our littlest students here getting acclimated to the building prior to kindergarten. We are right at around 650 for our enrollment. We typically run 5 to 6 sections of each grade level. So that would mean we'd have 6 sections of kindergarten, 5 of first, and it kind of goes on depending on our enrollment. But the average class sizes is right around 23. And we are very proud to share that we are a Minnesota School of Excellence recipient, as well as a Minnesota Reward School. Just to introduce you to some of our staff, I'm going to have Miss Miller take over and share some of the people that you will meet along the way in your journey here with starting your adventure as a kindergarten family for next year. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Miller to introduce some of our staff.
All right, this will go pretty quickly because the people you meet, it's going to be fantastic when you meet them in person, but here is a face to the name. In the office, when you go into the office, you'll be meeting Miss Terry Oakes, and she is the administrative office assistant, and our school nurse, who has been doing a fabulous job with us, Miss Christina Stresnick. The kindergarten team, which you are all going to be thrilled to meet, Miss Nicole Dietz, Miss Katie Fisher, Miss Jessica Hoffman, and Miss Holly Johnson, Miss Steph Olstead, Miss Megan Reinhold. That is the kindergarten teacher lineup. Our social emotional learning staff that really do a lot of support in small groups and also working with the teachers to make sure our curriculum is attending to the whole child would be our social worker, Miss Molly Nefstead, and Dr. Tracy Eddington is our school psychologist. And the culturally responsive teaching and equity people, that'd be me, Miss Sarah Miller. And I also do the behavior specialist at Jordan. And then Mr. Malik Peer is our equity and family outreach specialist.
So we're going to move into what we would typically see in a kindergarten classroom. Now, obviously, with this year being a year where we are still having to follow our COVID health and safety guidelines, some of the things that you're going to see are some pictures of our students who are wearing masks, socially distanced. Some of the photos might be photos from years past, where you might see children without masks, not socially distanced. So just know that this year, with COVID, we are making sure that we're adhering to those guidelines. So when I give information here on a typical day, most of what I'm going to talk about is pre-COVID, and we're hoping to be post-COVID starting in the fall. So students have our main content areas that they will be provided instruction within every day. Reading, math, science, social studies. And we also new this year have a one-to-one technology integration where all of our kindergartners each have their own device. In the elementary school, students do not typically take home devices, although this year when we were in distance learning, we did have children take their devices home. But primarily they stay at school, and they are just housed in carts that are just outside the classroom or within the classroom for students to have direct access to throughout the day. Students not only have instructional support during tier 1 or core instruction in those content areas, but then we also have a time that happens shortly after reading and math that is called JWIN, which is just what I need. And those are times that our students are either staying in the classroom with their regular classroom teacher, and they're getting what they need based on their specific skills during the units of study they're currently in. During that time, we also have some students that are leaving the classroom to go and work with other support staff with things that they might need. So they might be going to a different classroom where they might get extra math help, extra reading support. They might be working with our English language teacher, Miss Maggie Holbeck, or they might be working with our special ed staff for students who are on an individualized education plan or an IEP. But most kids get what they need in the classroom directly from the classroom teacher. They know best about their children's needs in their classroom. We differentiate our instruction. So from our students that are most at risk to our high ability kids, our teachers are fantastic with meeting their individual needs. We also want to see students participating in project-based learning opportunities, including chances to go outdoors. We've really believed that in kindergarten, children also need a lot of social time and social interaction. So playtime is a critical component of kindergarten. Most of the time, playtime is very unstructured to allow kids to be in those authentic learning moments with their peers. That's where they practice how they get along, take turns, sharing, all of those different things. But sometimes playtime is also intentional, where our teachers are having them practice specific social emotional skills or behavior skills that they want to then kind of talk through and discuss after that playtime. Our kindergarten teachers also have specialist classes that they rotate in a given week. We are on a day 1 through 5 schedule where students have Phi Ed twice in a week. And then they also have music one day, art one day, and then media and technology a 5th day. Our students also have the chance to go to our smart room. It's a brain-based research program where our children are really learning as they're moving. Brain research shows that when students are learning and moving at the same time, they are deepening those neurological pathways in their brains and really helping to solidify the learning that's happening. So they typically go to the smart room 3 to 4 times in a week, but they also embed those smart activities within the classroom setting as well. We also have mindfulness practices happening in our school on a regular basis. Either the classroom teacher is leading and facilitating mindfulness practices, or Miss Nesset, our school social worker, is coming in and leading those. And really what mindfulness is, it's allowing children to understand how to respond to the environment around them. So if things are hard or challenging, how can we take what we're receiving in as those challenging moments, and how can we respond in a helpful and positive manner versus responding in a hurtful or negative way? That's a life skill we can all learn. And so that's one thing that we do a lot here at the elementary school. We also have staff that work with Miss Miller with our culturally responsive teaching practices and making sure that every child is seeing themselves in the curriculum and their culture and their home environment and just their diverse needs are present in the classroom. So we want to make sure that we're honoring that whole child like Miss Miller talked about. And then the other thing is we follow a school-wide behavior model called J-Town Pride. Our school rules are students being safe, respectful, and responsible. And students are given pride passes when they are showing those helpful behaviors. And then we also hand out reminders to children when they are not remembering or they need some redirection with making those mistakes, which is every child's developmentally, they will make mistakes. We all do. But what we try to do is turn those into teachable moments. And that way it's also a way to communicate with you at home what your child's doing at school, showing helpful behaviors as well as behaviors that we just need to talk through more and figure out different ways to approach and respond. So a few years back, we started a beginning of the year introduction to kindergarten called Kickstart to Kindergarten. And we're going to talk a little bit about this here as we move forward in our presentation. Kickstart is really what the kindergarten teachers and I met, and we got some feedback from families and just wanting to make sure that the first experience here in our building for kindergarten was a really positive one. And we do the same thing at the middle school and the high school, where there's a kind of an introduction to the school year, being a new student in that building. So at the elementary school, it's Kickstart to Kindergarten. At the middle school, it's Jumpstart. And at the high school, it's freshman focus. And we really want kids to have that really smooth transition into the school year. It's a chance for kindergartners to build relationships with their peers and with staff. This Kickstart program is done on days when we don't have students in grades 1 through 4 on site. So it allows them to get a lot of individualized attention from staff. And then it's also just previewing some of those kindergarten skills, helping them to understand becoming an independent learner, giving tours of the building, being around, and just really going through a typical day of kindergarten. So like I said, they're going to experience a day where they're learning routines. They're going to learn what it's like to go to breakfast, to recess and lunch. They'll go to a specialist for the 2 days that they're here and just practice just different procedures that we would typically see in a kindergarten classroom. That way, like I said, without our 1st through 4th grade students here, they're in the building, kind of navigating through the building without all of the big people, so to speak, in the school. So it really helps to ease their mind and to feel like, oh, okay, I can manage this just, getting acclimated to the school before the other students in the other grades join them a few days later. And also, Kickstart is just an opportunity for the kids to see how much fun kindergarten is. So this is something that will be communicated out to families come probably late July, early August, where it'll just talk a little bit more specifically about what to bring to kindergarten, or excuse me, to Kickstart. So this is just a sample, but really important, and this might be where you take your screenshot. Monday, August 30th and Tuesday, August 31st are our 2 days for Kickstart this upcoming school year, or for the fall. Those days are, like I said, days where all of our kindergartners are coming to school. It's really considered their first 2 days of school. So in some districts, they have that be optional, and we know things come up and family vacations are still wrapping up for the summer. So we know sometimes students cannot be a part of that, but we really do want to see all of our kindergartners attend that event. So it's nice to get it on your calendar now well in advance. Transportation is provided if needed. And Mr. Eric, who works for Benjamin Bus, is really good with helping us to work that out and get the communication out to families on bus stops and times of pickup and drop-offs. But that at least gives you somewhat of an idea of what to expect for the day. It also talks a little bit about part of Kickstart is, as we are meeting the students and learning as much as we can about them, we obviously are going to want to make sure that you have some input too, as far as how your child best learns, the learning environment that works from them. And I'll get to that here in a little bit, because part of Kickstart is we also organize class lists after Kickstart. So we typically don't send teacher assignments out to families prior to kindergarten. We wait to do that the week of Kickstart. We've done it this way for the last couple of years, and we'll talk about that as the summer progresses and what to expect. But it really does give us the opportunity to say, let's structure our classroom makeup so that it works for all of our kids, rather than having it be a guessing game at the start of the fall. So here's some important dates and things that will be coming up here in the future. Once again, this is where you might want to take out your camera and be able to take some snapshots of these important dates. Even though the registration states here it happened online by February 15th, we definitely will continue to take registrations throughout the course of this spring, as well as through the summer months. We just would like to know registration numbers as soon as possible. That helps us to create our budget for the year and what our staffing and resources need to look like for the fall, because we actually start that planning right now and through the summer. Today, March 1st, is our virtual Welcome to Kindergarten for Families. Throughout the course of this spring, we will be sending out additional communications about kindergarten. So just be on the lookout, either through social media or other avenues of communication. And then in May, our hope is to have a face-to-face event where we will welcome families and students to kindergarten. And in last year, what that looked like is where we had a drive-through roundup event where our kindergarten teachers were outside in our back parking loop. They got to have a chance to meet kids. Kids got a chance to see the teachers. We gave a little gift bag out. So we'll see how things play out with COVID, but more than likely it will be something similar to what it was last year. And finally, as we count down into this late summer and early fall, these are the other dates that are important for you to just know. Once again, that Kickstart to Kindergarten event, our back to school conferences, which will be in evening and daytimes. Once you find out what classroom your child's in for kindergarten, you will have a separate one-on-one meeting with the teacher that you can participate in. That way you get a chance to share your hopes and dreams for your child. They get a chance to dive in a little bit deeper into the curriculum for kindergarten, with then our official first day of kindergarten being September 7th. And like everything else in a COVID world, hopefully we won't have to do a lot of changes, but sometimes we are making changes to the calendar, sometimes things that are out of our control. So we will always communicate things out if things change. So now we're kind of into the part of our presentation where we have developed some frequently asked questions. These questions came from our kindergarten teaching staff based on things that they are often asked by families at the start of the year in particular. There are also questions that we hear from families from our office assistants when they call in to ask us questions, even at the district office level or through emails and whatnot, or face-to-face conversations maybe out in the community. So we're going to share just some frequently asked questions that have come up. Ms. Miller and I are going to take turns sharing these. And so the first one I'm going to have Ms. Miller talk a little bit about, and then we'll kind of keep going back and forth throughout these questions.
All right. If your child is attending preschool in Jordan, we would really appreciate it if you register for your child at the elementary school, because preschool is run by community education, which is separate from the school program. And once again, like Ms. Barnett said, the earlier you register, the planning for us in upfront is a lot easier. So please register as soon as possible.
This question also comes up a lot. Can I request a specific teacher for my kindergartner? The answer is no. And the reason why, first of all, we have amazing teachers here. All of our teachers in kindergarten are amazing. And really what we try to do is to be able to give you an opportunity to give us some input though, because we know that you know your child best. So there is going to be a parent guardian input form available on the Countdown to Kindergarten website. And if you see the website down below here, Kat's included it. This form is a Google form. And what you'll do is you'll fill the form out, and it just allows you to respond to just 3 basic questions that just are seen by me. Nobody else sees you filling out that form. I'm the only one who has access to that information. I then use that as I meet with our placement teams in this spring to determine how we initially place kindergarten students. And then we look at that list again once Kickstart's happening and see how we want to make some adjustments based on what we're seeing and learning from your child in Kickstart.
And you will be meeting your kindergarten teachers, like Ms. Barnett had said previously, in May. Last year we did a drive-through event, which could be a possibility for this year also. But in May, we will get something in communication and something planned where you will be meeting your kindergarten teachers and see them.
The other thing, just to kind of back up, because of COVID, we aren't allowing a lot of visitors into our building. So the plan is to do a video kind of walkthrough of our school, kind of a walkthrough tour. And that'll be something that we also put out on the Countdown to Kindergarten website so that families can see what the school looks like. This is another piece of information that is important for you to start thinking about now. If your child has not been immunized, you know, there's typically a series of vaccinations that your child needs right before kindergarten. Those are things that you might want to start planning ahead for. I know that every clinic's been different in how things are managed with COVID, and sometimes the wait is significant as far as getting an appointment. Just know that our state law requires immunizations and screening for kindergartners. And if you need to have your child screened, we do have availabilities for you to be setting up a time to be screened with our early learning services staff. If your child's attended preschool here in our building, there's a strong possibility they've already gone through screening. But it's good for you to still call and ask if you need to have that completed. If you choose not to have your child immunized, you still need to provide a form that's called a conscientious objective form. That'll be something that's also on our school website, on our Countdown to Kindergarten page, that you have to be able to have notarized, just stating that I am choosing due to my beliefs or other reasons why I do not want my child to be immunized. Once we get a copy of that submitted form, then that serves as kind of your checked off item for immunization. So either one, the immunization form from your clinic, or that conscientious objective form is what we're needing from you prior to your child starting school in the fall.
And we really encourage you to stay up to date and to communicate with us. And there's plenty of ways to do that. Really, we have to give a real shout out to Kat Pass, because she keeps our website looking beautiful, but also with all the information that you would need to know what's going on in our district. And then the other piece of information that if you really want to stay up to date, get that smartphone app. And she has it, the JPS smartphone app. Search Jordan Public Schools in the App Store. It'll come up, and everything and anything you need to know about the school district will be on that. Also, you'll be getting classroom newsletters and emails. We'll find out what your preference for communication is, and we'll work with that. And especially when you have your teacher, when you find out who your teacher is, and we will stay in communication. So
sometimes we get the question of, so how do I pay for lunch or other fees for school? And most of the time, parents decide to sign up for our Infant Campus Parent Portal. It's our online platform that houses a lot of information for families and for staff. So we take attendance. We'll use it K-12 throughout your time here in the district. But if that's not something that's your preference, we also still take checks and cash. If you want to just put those in your child's folder or backpack, you can send those payments to school. But many families take advantage of that Infinite Campus Parent Portal. When you get registered and we start getting information going out for the fall, if you are not a current family, we'll make sure that you understand how to get access to your parent portal key, we call it. It's kind of your sheet that gives you what username and password do you need to use to initially set up your account. And then after you're in, then you'll be able to personalize it for you and your family.
Yes, there is child care before and after child care. It's called Kids Company. It's located right up here. It's the first door you walk in when you walk into the building, and they're open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, and they also have summer programming in the building too.
If that's something that you're interested in for the fall, I know what some families like to do if they prefer, they have their child signed up for summer. That allows them to kind of get a jump start on building some of those relationships with their peers prior to the start of the school year. That program, as well as our before and after school programs during the school year, can fill up fairly quickly. We have had waiting lists at times, so that's something that you might want to get a jump start on if you know you want to utilize that service. We've also had questions that have come our way about busing. How do I register my child for the bus? When you fill out your enrollment forms, there typically is a page for transportation. Benjamin Bus is our transportation service. We have worked with them for several years. Eric Burrell is amazing. He's our bus manager at Benjamin Bus. And if you want to have your child picked up or dropped off at your home or near your home or even at a daycare, they're willing to work with you on that. And their number is listed here if you want more information on how to contact them. And then once your child's registered for riding the bus, it's typically in August where Eric works on collecting all of those registrations and working out his magic on how to organize all of the routes and pickup times and then drop off times after school. But you typically will get a card, like a postcard in the mail in August that will notify you on that information.
And do your kids have a buddy on the bus to help them out? Well, the kindergarten teachers do work with Benjamin Bus and Eric, and they give your student a bus tag that's attached to their backpack to make sure they get to the right classroom once they're off the bus. And oftentimes the older elementary kids will be assigned to assist a kindergarten student to get their breakfast or to go to their classroom. So they'll be well taken care of on the bus.
And you'll be surprised. This last question here, we often have families, especially if they're the oldest kindergarten or if the oldest child in your family, it's that time when you're like, oh my gosh, are they going to be okay? I'm sending them off and I'm trusting they're going to be getting what they need and taken care of. But like Miss Miller said, we have amazing staff here at the school that are looking out for our kindergartners. One of the things that we talk a lot about at Kickstart is letting kids know that we have a lot of adults and a lot of older students here that are willing to watch out for them. You'll often hear, especially if you're a new family, you're going to hear us talk about our JES family, and it truly is a family. We all just really step up and take care of each other. But during those first weeks of school, we have a lot of adults, and actually it's maintained throughout most of the school year, where they're at the drop-off loops, they're at main entries, they're in the hallways, they're in breakfast. We have a lot of people helping students to get where they need to go. And you'll actually be surprised on how quickly your kindergartner can get acclimated to be independent with that. It doesn't take usually more than a few weeks, and then kindergartners are moving around the building like they've been here for a long time. But just know that we have paraprofessionals who do walk kids to those loops at the end of the day, and then teachers walk the bus students to the buses also at the end of the day, because we know that we still have a busy amount of traffic, that we don't want students to feel overwhelmed on how to get where they need to go. At this point in time, I just want to encourage you, if there were things that you still are wondering about, or maybe you still have questions about, feel free to reach out. Like I had said before, we didn't have that live chat going at this point in time. We do want to continue to support you as parents and guardians. So if you have any questions after the event today, feel free to call. We'd be happy to chat with you. My email is listed there as well. You can always send me an email. I'm usually good about getting back to people within 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes I might just give you a call back. So if you're going to email me, feel free to leave your phone number too. Sometimes it's easier to talk through things over on the phone versus kind of playing that email tag back and forth. And then there's also ways of getting communication on our website, especially that Countdown to Kindergarten's website. What'll happen is anytime we get questions in, we'll try to continue to populate our frequently asked questions page. So you might want to just continue to check that out on our our Countdown to Kindergarten website, because you might find questions that you were wondering about are already answered on that page. Finally, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us here. If you can see the picture here, we have a lot of fun at Durham Elementary School. Our kindergartners are, just excited to be here. They just have a level of curiosity and excitement in them that is just different and unique than any other grade level. And I think it's just because they come into school just ready to learn, ready to have fun, and our staff really allows them to grow and to nurture into their authentic self. We really work hard to honor them as individuals and respect their unique personalities. So I think no matter what teacher, what program your child's in, I just can't say enough about our school. I've been at several school districts over my 25 plus years in education. And Durham Elementary is just top notch. We're just a great district, and I'm so excited for you guys to join our family. At this point in time, Miss Miller and Miss Kat Paas and I will wrap up our time here together with you. But once again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. That's what we're here for. And just like I said, know that we will continue to send out information over the course of this spring into the summer months. But most importantly, if you haven't registered yet, please, like Miss Miller said, go online and register. And then we'll take it from there. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great rest of the day.